soldier buddies. I should find the others. Ugh, this place makes me nauseous. An object of power. How do you think it got down here? A carousel horse. Why is kid stuff always so creepy? Let's see the hiss keep up with me now.
Audio-related effect.
All set.
Man, I never thought I'd be working in the executive sector. Look at me now, Ma.
What's the deal with BlackRock?
Oh, fuck. Don't get me started on BlackRock. You know, ever since research found out that it blocks paranatural stuff, they have just been parading dangerous materials in and fucking lab coats, man. Love making my job harder.
Sounds like there's some tension between departments.
You know, me and Salvador used to have after-work beers down there.
What do you know about Dr. Darling?
About as much as anybody, I guess. Head of research, loves to hear himself talk. All of those science types absolutely do. Now he's been acting a little bit psycho recently. Although HR told me not to.
Everyone thinks finding Darling will lead us to the answers. But if he's completely... You're security, right? Do you work with Rangers?
Not often. Rangers are specially trained in threshold reconnaissance and ground zero AWE response. Security is more interested in the dangers inside the Bureau.
They must see some weird stuff out.
Yeah, definitely. You know, every week they are tackling things that were previously unknown to the human Most Rangers, they retire due to cognitive collapse. I looked up the medical definition. Not fun.
How does the Bureau handle thresholds?
Handle might be a bit of an optimistic way to put it. Marshall sends her Rangers in to map them, check growth rates, locate epicenters, measure stuff, basically. Now, down in maintenance, thresholds are used just like any other tool. Lab coats find black rock from one. We use it for pretty much everything, except drinking.
Why don't you drink it? Do I even...
Yeah, a lot of time we find these little chunks in it. It's pretty gross.
I didn't want to know. What do you think of Marshall?
Marshall? Marshall's a fucking badass. She's a little, intense, but given the stuff she's seen, I'm not surprised. She does have a bad habit of disappearing, though.
Where does she go?
Last time she vanished, I did some digging into the security logs. I found camera footage of her entering the quarry. She was down there alone for days. Now, typically that's not allowed, but Marshall is kind of above the rules.
I wonder what she finds so interesting in the quarry. I have to go.
Me too. You're not the only one who's busy, you know.
Do you remember Mr. Tomasi, the head of communications? The hiss he was changed into showed up in containment, near the turntable.
I'll take care of it. That thing's not getting away this time.
I've heard reports about his particular use of language and intonation when repeating the hiss babbling. The biological and behavioral distinctions between different hiss-corrupted individuals is truly fascinating. I wonder if I could categorize the data.
And she's already off on her own thing. I've been seeing these Darling presentations. Seems like he enjoys the limelight.
So you noticed, huh? When he recruited me out of college, he interrupted my physics course by shouting, not, and then marching down to the front of the class where he proceeded to berate the very idea. He's been a showboat all his life. He read a paper I'd published, came to recruit me for the Bureau. I accepted and then spent years waiting for access. Whenever I ask about my access level, he just mumbles that it's temporarily postponed and then changes the subject to the effect of entropy on luck.
I wonder who else Darling hid his work from. Marshall? Trench? I wanted to talk to you about the crazy things I can do. My abilities. I get the sense that they're not very usual around here.
Well, usual and unusual aren't really benchmarks at the Bureau, but for some perspective, Director Northmore once used the floppy disk to send a bowling ball 6 yards through the air, and that was considered a huge deal. So compared to that, you are most certainly an outlier.
An outlier. I like the sound of that. I should get going.
Don't let me hold you up.
normally barge into people's private workspaces.
She clearly doesn't know who she's talking to. Shouldn't you be in a safe room?
Why? Because of those hiss things the Rangers keep going on about. Haven't you people sorted that out yet? The situation down here could spell doom for the Bureau.
You mean this mold?
Correct. Perhaps you could help me. I require samples of various mold strains, and the mold has made the environment far too dangerous for me to fetch them myself.
Really? Mold samples? I thought this could spell doom.
It could, and it will, whoever you are. The mold is spreading. We need to find the source before it spreads too far.
And these samples will do that?
No. Samples of 5 unique strains, when blended properly, will allow you to travel deeper into the pit, where I've pinpointed the approximate location of the source of the mold.
Okay. So what do these samples look like?
Similar to the one on my table there. I've made a list of the samples I need. Here. You'll find them throughout the threshold.
I'll take a look. My name's Jessie, by the way.
I'm sure it is.
Have you worked with Emily Pope?
Our paths have crossed. Darling arranged for us to have a coffee. A meeting of the minds, he called it. She's talented. I can certainly see.
I feel like there's a but coming.
But she's drunk a bit too much of the Bureau's proverbial coup. She shouldn't be afraid to forge ahead on her. Science is skepticism. Everything must be questioned before the truth can emerge.
The mold seems to be having some weird...
Indeed. Even people are susceptible. Luckily, one must ingest the stalks to become infected.
Don't eat the mold. Okay.
We've always cremated the infected bodies after autopsy, but I believe there may be another stage of maturity, a blooming, if you will.
I never thought the word blooming would sound so horrible. So is Darling your boss?
If you insist on clinging to such outdated... However, I would argue that our fields are too dissimilar for one to manage the other. Of course, Darling would much prefer to find his own miracles. He always needs to be the hero.
So tell me again how you came to work at the Bureau?
Well, like I said, I was brought in a temporary position, you see. Although that's not the whole truth. I was employed here for a time, straight out of university. After a decade of admittedly fascinating, I began to chafe under the Bureau. I needed a change. Not that academia was so different.
And then the mold happened.
About 4 months ago, yes. Since my departure from the Bureau, they hadn't been able to find... Darling and I had kept in touch over the years, meeting at conferences and the like. He called me, and I booked a flight. I've never been able to say no to a man with a date. I had to leave my post in the middle of term, but...
So she's a professor. That explains a lot. Thanks for the information.
My pleasure.
Eat down here. Suddenly I'm really hungry. I wonder how this mold tastes. Those people?
contact the janitor if you need to get through.
Broken? How many dead ends can this place have? We need to find Ati.
I'm averse to using objects of power. I don't want to lean on things I ultimately can't trust. But the ashtray and the cigarette, smoking there forever, have their uses. The ashtray maze they conjure is an impossibly changing labyrinth that no one but the binder, and those the binder invites, can ever pass through. The things we hid in dimensional research, the things Darling studies, the danger and the risk involved, call for every measure of security and protection I could bring to the table. The maze, hands down, is our strongest lock. I gave Darling and his chosen crew license to pass through the maze. Lately, I've started to think I should revoke that license.
There's no Ati. Where is he?
Now this boy left, said the son of Annikki Tähti. My assistant will keep work in the glove and the house standing. Lomille lomps, holiday humps.
How can anyone even get out of here while the building's sealed? Let alone go on a holiday.
Всем.
Sekunnissa. Illalla tuuli heikkenee. Utuista hyvä näkyvyys. Suomenlahden länsiosa, Pohjois-Itämeri, etelän ja lounaan välistä tuulitakkaa 12. Ajoittain noin 14 metriä sekunnissa. Myöhemmin iltapäivällä ja illalla suunnaltaan vaihtelevaa tuulta. Selkämeren eteläosa 6-10 metriä sekunnissa. Yöllä tuuli väliaikaisesti tyyntyy. Hyvä näkyvyys. Selkämeren pohjoisosa, merenkurkku ja perämeri suunnaltaan vaihtelevaa tuulta 3-6 metriä sekunnissa. Ja hyvä näkyvyys. Sää rannikkoasemilla tänään kello 11. Kotka-Rankki 16 astetta. Tuulta, utua, näkyvyys yli 20 kilometriä. Kalvoida 15, selkeää yli 20. Helsinki 4, utua yli 20. Kokassa Rista 16, etelä 5, puolipilvistä. Etelä 3, selkeää yli 20. Nyham 17, selkeää yli 20. Kotka Sander 20, Tyyttä selkeää yli 20. Märket 19, Kaakko etelä, melkein selkeä, yli 20. Rauma Kuuska-Jaskari 16, Lounas 5, selkeää, yli 20. Häntiluoto 20, Kaakko 2, puolipilvistä, yli 20. Poikipää 18, vuoden 4, melkein selkeä, yli 20. Alassaare 15, etelä 6, selkeää, yli 20. Pietarsaari Missään 14, etelä-lounas 6, selkeää, yli 20. Tiedot puuttuvat edelleen. Sitten vielä meriveden tänään kello 8.
vaan hetki kuolos, lepo suodaan jo takas kutsutaan. Aika särkyy ikuisuuteen, laukaus kajahtaa. Ei onnellista loppua hän kohtaa milloinkaan. Niin monta kertaa kerrottu, tää tarina jo on. Sankarilla tuhat kasvoa, polku lohduton. Yksin sankar yön syvemmälle matkaa pois. Se taakka hänen harteillaan kuin lupaus aina ois. Täs pelissä tää narri lyödään vaan aina vaan hetki kuolos. Lepo suodaan jo.
There's something up ahead. Do you see it?
Kestävä ruottalaiset keksit kunnon löylyin. Samma på svenska! Hej, girl! For a Finn, holidays holy.
Ahti?
Did you miss me? Did you have piss in your song? Yes. No. Bark don't make a wound. You did good. Take my cassette player. You can borrow it. The song is a present from my friends to you. It will get you through the maze so you can do your job.
Did that really just happen? Of course it did. He gave me his cassette player. It'll get me through the maze, huh? The janitor always has the keys. That was awesome.
Projector. The expedition into Slidescape 36. What Darling brought back changed everything.